We are in Genesis 16. I guess I should say hello. It's been a minute since I talked to you. Uh, we're putting up some videos today that we did a couple weeks ago. I think it's 74 or 75, 6, and 7. And I was talking on again, kind of refreshing about why is there such hatred in the world, especially between the Jews and the, I guess the Arabs mostly. A lot of times it's not just the Arab people. Some Arab people get along with the Jews somewhat, but the problem is the Muslims don't. They don't. So, and after bombing it, Iran, after totally wiping out Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis are still kind of out there. But there's still a boiling pot over there in the Middle East. And I've always been concerned about that. But that pot is spilling over. It's spilling over into America. And it's getting very, very serious. And um, as we look at what's going on with uh, the Antifa fighting ICE and just regular people. Some people in the Democratic Party just think it's cool now to start shedding blood. They're threatening their own. And so, what is that? What is all that? Is this something that can ever be settled? Can you make a treaty with hate? You know, I always had a saying, don't never negotiate with anybody that has one hand behind their back. You can't do it. It's this idea that Russia and America and China and North Korea, that they're all going to be one big happy family. That's not going to happen. If it does, it'll be very short period. We went over that and over that. But I wanted to go back to the root a minute and talk from John 16:2 about Jesus saying, uh, they will put you out of the synagogues and they will kill you, thinking that they're doing God a service. That's the scripture, Matthew 16:1 and 2. So he was warning his disciples and the Jews, period, that this thing that's on you is not for a minute. It's from the womb to the tomb. You're going to finally be freed. But everything, all things have a beginning and a middle and an end usually. And I want to go back to Genesis. I'm going to be in Genesis chapter 16 and Galatians chapter 4. And I want to talk about how this problem began to exist between the seed of Abraham and the seed of Ishmael. And Ishmael, I'll read this so you'll understand a little bit, was a child that was born to Abraham. So Abraham's the father of nations. He's the father of the Jew, the Muslim, and Christians. And because through Abraham came Isaac, through Isaac came Jacob, through Jacob came the patriarchs, 12 sons, and one of those sons was Judah. No Judah, no Jesus. So Abraham, the territory of blessing that he carried was powerful. And it's true that the Muslims came from him, and they came by way of this story. Hope you like it. Now, Sarah, Abraham's wife, bare him no children. This was his wife. And she had a handmaid, which was a maid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. Some versions call it Agar. And this is not uncommon. This is like a surrogate mother. She was going to be a stand in mother. And what happened? Sarah said to Abram, "Behold, now the Lord has restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go unto my maid, and it may be that I may obtain children by her." Rachel did this, Leah did this. That's where all the 12 sons, they didn't just come from one wife, they came from several. And so it is with her. And he said, "I pray, go unto my maid that I may obtain children." And Abraham hearkened to the voice of Sarah. Don't that sound familiar? You could change that name from Abraham to Adam, and Adam hearkened to the voice of his wife Eve. And so that's the original sin happened because uh, the woman, Eve, these were ambitious women. I don't think they were just evil women at that time, but they were being brought into it. She really wanted her husband to have a seed. And so, as did Eve, so did Sarah. She listened to that voice. And it says in verse 4, and he went into Hagar, and she conceived. And when Sarah, saw that she had conceived, and that her mistress was despised in her eyes. So, what you think did happen between two women, there was jealousy and envy, and all of a sudden. And Sarah said to Abram, "My wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judge between me and thee." And Abraham said to Sarah, "Behold, your maid is in your hand. Do to her as you please." And when Sarah dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. And the angel of the Lord found her in the fountain, by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way of Shur, Shur. That's another topic we'll get into. And he said, Hagar, Sarah's maid, where'd you come from? And where will you go? And she said, I'll flee from the face of my mistress. And the angel of the Lord said to her, return to your mistress and submit yourself to her hands. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply your seed exceedingly, that it shall not be able to be numbered. And the angel said to the Lord, behold, you are with child, and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael. The word Ishmael has its own set of meanings. We'll get there in a minute. And it said, and the angel of the Lord said, behold, you are with child, you shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard your affliction. The word Ishmael means to hear, for God to hear. Excuse me. And he will be a wild man. That's pretty wild prophecy, isn't it? His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand will be against him. Somehow this breed that was bred by Abraham through that Egyptian wasn't a healthy deal. He was wild. It's where all these wars come from. It's where all this fighting comes from. And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand will be against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of his people. She called the name of the Lord, and the Lord spake to her, Thou God seest me. For she said, have I also here looked after him that you see me? And I'm going to stop there. It's verse 13. So she's having a conversation with an angel. She's been driven out from Sarah because that's not working out for her to be a surrogate. And it could never work out anyway because God had promised Abraham a seed. Ishmael was not promised to him. And so because he took up the flesh and his wife tried to fulfill that promise, uh, we're still fighting about it today. So I'll see you next time. Probably be talking along the same topic. Look into that, chapter 16, Genesis.